Good, Dana. Can you hear me?
Hello, can
Hey,
you hear?
how you doing?
Nice. Good, good. Long time no see. How are you?
Yeah.
How was the last few weeks for you?
Well, I'm doing very good. Last week was truly amazing with the announcement of Strapi 5, and it continues with all of these launch parties. So thanks a lot for organizing this event today.
Yeah, sure, sure. So
How are you doing?
we are looking forward to hear more from you. So I think that you can go ahead and share with us all the big news.
Awesome. All right. So I'll share my screen in a second. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So good evening, everyone. I cannot see you, but I can hear you. I heard the yes. So my name is Pierre. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Strapi. Strapi is a side project that we started a few years ago, 9 years ago, to be very precise. It's a project that we started. So Aurélien, Jim, and myself started this project when we were students. And we released the project on the 1st of October 2015. And so today is a very special day. It is the 9th anniversary of Strapi. So it's a lot of emotion that I'm sharing this because it has been a long journey. And at the same time, it's really amazing to see what the project became. So we started Strapi back in 2015 for a few reasons. The first one is that might have used traditional CMSs that are great for managing website content on websites only, but now the content needs to be displayed on multiple platforms. It can be a mobile application, it can be a watch, it can be whatever. We've seen companies managing ads on billboards. So really that content needs to be displayed on many platforms and not only websites. And even the way to create websites has completely changed. In a traditional content management system, you would have built all of your front end using the templating system of the traditional CMS. But as developers, and I imagine that there are a few developers in this room, we like to use front-end frameworks such as React, eventually with Next.js or Remix, Vue.js with Next or Astro or Angular, and there are plenty of front-end frameworks today. And those front-end frameworks, they really offer a much better developer experience, and they allow us to build much faster websites because there is no page reload, because a lot of pages can be cached, and so on and so on. And yeah, the problem with traditional CMSs is that they were not a good fit for this. And so we decided to build our own piece of software. We started using it for our clients' projects, and we realized that plenty of developers, plenty of companies had similar needs. So that's at the time we were not even talking about headless CMSs. It was not even a thing. So we've built a CMS that had no front end, but it still that had an API to make the content available to all of these platforms. And of course, in 2018, the term headless really became popular. And so what makes Strapi unique is really that it's open source, it's fully customizable, and of course, it's headless. It has been a long journey. As mentioned earlier, it has been 9 years. We published the first commit on GitHub in 2015. At the time, we were students. And it's only in 2017 that we started being able to work full-time with the project. Before this, we were students. We were working as freelancers. We were working as a small digital agency because that was the best way for us to make revenue in the early days. But we realized that it was pretty hard for us to spend enough time on the open source project. Instead, we're spending 90% of our time doing custom development for our clients, which was fun, but which was not the best way to maintain the project and to improve the product for the existing community back in the days. So we decided to raise some money from investors. We've raised a $1 million pre-seed round in 2018. And that's really when we've been able to be even more full-time, because we've been able to start paying ourselves, which was a good thing, even if the amounts were low. And we've been able to hire some people on the team. And this has been a game changer. We started hiring people who are better than us, and we've been able to greatly improve the project, to grow the community. And this led us to our 4 million seed round, because back in the days, the number of stars on GitHub was already increasing pretty fast. And we could see some big logos using Strapi. And we also raised the $10 million Series A in 2020. So we are not making any revenue at the time. And so we started with the open core business model. So we have an enterprise edition of Strapi, which is an extension of the open source project. Whereas the Series B in 2022. And 18 months ago, we released Strapi Cloud, which is a platform as a service for Strapi projects. So as a developer, you install Strapi locally, you define the content structure, you eventually install some plugins, you do some customization, and once you're happy with your changes, it's time to go in production. And so you push all this to a Git repository, and you connect these repositories to Strapi Cloud, and we manage all of the hosting for you. We provide a Node.js server, a Postgres database, storage for the assets, everything you need. So this is our second business model. So it has been a journey, and yet it's only the beginning. Today, Strapi has reached more than 15 million downloads on NPM, 60,000 stars on GitHub, and 50 million downloads on Docker. We have more than 1,500 customers, and project is used by many companies, including all of these logos, which all are customers of Strapi. So Strapi is a content management system. This is what the user interface looks like. We're going to have a quick demo just after. And what really makes Strapi unique is that it's fully extensible. So there is a very large ecosystem of plugins. You can install integrations with Algolia, with plenty of other tools. There's a very large community. You can build your own plugins. You can benefit from the existing ecosystem of plugins. You can go on market.strapi.io, which is the marketplace of plugins, where you can find about 200 plugins developed by the community. And Strapi can be self-hosted. You can host it on your own servers, as this is open source. So you can host it on your own AWS, Azure, DigitalOcean, Google Cloud Platform accounts. So that's great, especially if your company cares about data privacy. We have a lot of banks, healthcare companies hosting Strapi on their own servers. And as mentioned earlier, now there is Strapi Cloud, and we offer the easiness of a SaaS solution for you. And so what that means for you, especially if you're a digital agency, for example, or freelancer, and that you build a lot of different projects within a year, this means that by using Strapi, you can build projects for both customers who want to host on their own servers and for customers who don't want to deal with this and just want to have a solution that's very easy. And so you can develop one single expertise with one CMS only and be able to offer great solutions to these two cases. And so because Strapi is extremely flexible, you can build corporate websites, editorial websites, e-commerce websites, mobile application, internal applications. It's really flexible. And last week, we released Strapi 5 stable that we're celebrating all together today. So thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot to Notum for organizing this event today. The Strapi 5 comes with a lot of improvements. The first one is draft and publish. So you can have two different versions of an entry. The other one is content history. So you can see the previous versions of an entry and roll back to a specific version. There are also a bunch of improvements related to the developer experience, such as TypeScript, the new API format, the new plugin CLI and SDK. We replaced Webpack with Vite. Dominic is going to share a lot of information about this technical improvements that are game changers for the developer experience. And what I'm going to showcase right now is the draft and publish feature and the content history. All right, so I'm going to shift to this tab, make my screen a little bit bigger. All right, so this is the Strapi interface. Here you have different sections. You have, for example, the content type builder. This is where you can define the content structure. So for example, I can say that I want every article to have one title, a description, a slug, a cover, etc., etc. This is also where you can create components, and that's a core concept in Strapi, because components are blocks that you can reuse in different places. And the idea behind this is that as a front-end developer, you often create front-end components, no matter if it's done with React or Vue or any other front-end framework. And so what you would want is to make these components dynamic. And so you can reflect the structure of these components in the CMS. So for example, you can say that every quote should have a title and a body. And these two fields will more likely be props of your front-end component. And with the help of dynamic zones, which are a type of field, you can allow non-technical people to build pages on the fly by allowing them to, within the dynamic zone, add a media, a quote, rich text, and any other kind of component that you will configure on Strapi. So that's very convenient. So this part is named the content type builder. There is also the media library. This is where you can upload assets, such as images, videos. Here is a marketplace. This is where you can install some plugins. There are many pages of plugins, as you can see here. And in the settings section, this is where you can create API tokens to request the API from your front end. You can also configure releases to schedule content publication. You can add additional locals to translate your content in different languages. You also have some configuration for the media library. You have the list of plugins that you have installed in your projects. You can also define review workflows, which are ways to define the different steps before a piece of content is published. You can define single sign-on, transfer tokens to migrate content from one environment to another, the webhooks to trigger API endpoints when the content is updated. This can be very helpful to revalidate the content on the front end. And of course, you can manage the list of users as well as the roles for your Strapi project. All right, so that's just to give you the big picture. But what we really want to show today and to see is the content manager. So this is the main section of the CMS because that's where you're going to create and manage contents. And so let's give it a try by creating a new article. So here in my new article, I can create an article about Notum and say, hey, Notum is an amazing digital agency, isn't it? All right, so I could add a description, I can add the slug. Of course, I could edit it if I want to. I could add an image. I could also define an author for this article. I could select some categories. And this is where I can also add some content. So I could add a rich text editor here, blah, blah, blah. And this is where I would explain why Notum is awesome. And I can save this entry. All right, and so as you can see here, I have a status here, which is draft. So my entry is currently in a draft mode. And if I click on published here, I cannot see the published version of this entry. And that's because I did not publish my entry yet. This is new in Strapi v5. This really the ability to have a draft version and a published version. All right, so let's move forward and click on publish. The status of my entry is now published. and I can see what it looks like in the published mode. I cannot edit the published version, and that's normal. It's because any update that I would make in the future, I would do it in draft. And so I can say, for example, that I updated the title of this entry. And if I save, it's saved. I can reload the page. I still have the updated status. I mean, the updated word, I should say, here in the title. The status is now modified. And if I click on published, I still have the entry. And this is very convenient because it means that my front-end application, which can be a Next.js application, let's take it as an example. My Next.js application will, in its production environment, pull the published version of my entry. So I make sure that anytime I edit some draft, I do not impact my published version, and so I do not publish my production version of my frontend. But at the same time, I probably want to have a preview of my updated version. And so you can imagine that the same Next.js application in its staging environment will pull the content in a draft mode. And that means that I will be able to see in my frontend the updated version of my entry and do all of my updates. And once I am happy with this updates, thanks to my preview system, I can click on publish. And now the entry has been published. So this is a game changer because it also reduces the need for having multiple environments for your Strapi instance, because within the production instance, you can have two different separate states for every entry. All right, so that's for the draft and published feature. And all of this combined with the content history feature is very powerful. So the content history feature is also one of the new improvements that comes with Strapi 5. And here we can see all of the previous versions of an entry. So you can see who has done what and when. Here in the latest state of this entry, we can see updated here. But if I take a look at the previous versions, here we go. I can see the initial version of this entry. All right. And well, let's consider that I want to go back to this version. I can click on restore here and confirm. All right, so now you can see that the updated word is not part of the sentence anymore. But the status is modified. So if we click on published, we still have the updated. And that's because I rolled back to a previous version, but now I just want to validate that change, and I want to confirm that I want to go back to this previous version in the published state. So all I need is to click on publish, and now if I go in published, I can see that the updated word is not there anymore. So that's it for the demo of draft and publish and content history. It has been a real technical challenge because we now need to have the history of the previous versions, and we need to have two different states while having an API format that's very convenient. So that's why we had to do a major version with some breaking change, which are really well documented. But yeah, that's really a game changer when using Strapi 5. So that's it for the demo. I think we have some time for questions. So feel free to let me know if you have any. Thank you.
I guess it was a blast the last 9 years.
Yeah, it was. That's great. And we look forward to the next 9 years.
All right, so I will try to show you the people who are here on site on our professional setup. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
And we also have around the same amount of people on the stream. And now
Awesome.
it's a time for questions. So, does anybody here have a question for Pierre? Don't be shy. All right.
Hey Peter, since like you were releasing Strapi 3 4 and 5, right? Is there any like chance of like releasing V6? Do you know approximately like when it's gonna be? Like what is the big plan? Like how big? Like how long will the V5 stay?
So you're asking for Strapi 6?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay. Well, to be honest, it has been an internal joke during the last few days. So we might be live when we release Strapi 6. I don't know. We don't have a timeline for this. But we might do some other major releases in the upcoming quarters and years, and we will make smaller breaking changes. I think we, instead of doing massive new major versions, we'll release smaller ones, which are very easy to upgrade to.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the question.
So I will also have one. So Pierre, are there any upcoming cool features to the version 5?
Yes, there is one that we are actively working on, which is preview. So we want you to be able to have previews within the Strapi user interface. This is one of the most requested features, and especially for content editors, they have the CMS in one tab in their web browser, they have the front end on the other tab. They don't have real-time previews, and this is something that we started working on, and it should be a game changer for content editors. We're also working on a TypeScript SDK, so this would be better in terms of developer experience. And we are working on a ton of small but important improvements. We, instead of building like massive features, we are going to spend the next few months working on a lot of small improvements that will make a big difference. We've been working on a lot of big features over the past few years, and for the next few months, yeah, we just want to streamline the experience, to make everything really, really smooth. So that's what we have on our roadmap for the short term.
And what is the main aim of Strapi in upcoming months and years? Developer experience or the content editor experience, or what is the main aim?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, well, our aim is to make Strapi the most popular CMS in the world, and we'll do everything for this. Now, in terms of developer experience versus content editors, I think that no CMS can win and can be great without one or the other. That being said, Strapi is the CMS that is really for developers mostly, and so the way I like to articulate it to emphasize the developer experience is that we want to build the headless CMS that developers love and that content editors enjoy. And so I think that means a lot on how much we want to double down on what makes Strapi unique, which is its developer experience, its customization capabilities, its ecosystem of plugins. And of course, we also want developers to be able to recommend Strapi in their companies and convince marketing teams and so on and so on. And that's why we're typically working on preview, and we'll continue working on a bunch of improvements regarding the editing experience.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Any other questions? Okay.
Hi, I have a question. Maybe I didn't heard about it, but if you have any enterprise version for the Strapi V5, and what are the differences between the free kind of version of the Strapi and the enterprise one?
So I can share my screen very quickly. And by the way, all of this is on our pricing page if you want to see the difference. So as part of the Enterprise Edition, you have different features. One of them is releases. So you can create releases. So one release is, for example, you're going to make an announcement in 2 weeks from now because you have a product update in your company, because you I don't know, any kind of big news, you're going to do that release, and you're going to schedule some content changes to be released within this release. So that's very convenient for marketing teams, especially. Another feature is single sign-on. So you can secure the Strapi application by using an authentication system such as Okta or Microsoft Azure Directory, this kind of tool that a lot of companies use. And this also means that if an employee leaves your company, they will not have access to Strapi anymore. So it's much better in terms of security. We also have the review workflows as part of the Enterprise Edition. And this is how you can define the different steps for the content to be reviewed before it's published. And this is quite powerful as it is combined with the role-based access control system. And with the Enterprise Edition, you also get the audit logs. So in the audit logs, you can see who has done what in the CMS. So you can see, for example, that Pierre Bogi published an entry at that specific date. You can see the difference here. So it's often a requirement for enterprises because they really want to track what has been done in the CMS. With the Enterprise Edition also comes support, and with an amazing support team that saved a ton of time to our customers. So that's what we offer with the Enterprise Edition. And of course, we also have Strapi Cloud, but that's for hosting the project.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you. Hello, thank you for your presentation. So my question will be somewhat related to what Andre asked, actually, and it's about the content editor experience, because I'm also working for an agency, and my experience, hands-on experience with Strapi is somewhat limited. But last year we actually used Strapi for one of our clients, the very first. And we decided to move on from it to look for something new, because this particular client found it to be quite kind of cumbersome. We almost had to write manuals for them how to use it. And since I seen your demo, and again, very limited experience, the UI feels very technical to me. Like, it's not very visual, even with those new tabs. Again, it's a very subjective opinion. Are you hearing this feedback a lot, or were our clients just a bit special in this kind of way?
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing feedback. We always appreciate learning from your experience. And yeah, the editing experience could be better. And again, that's the exact reason why we are working on the preview feature, and that we're going to do a lot of improvements when it comes to the editing experience. So stay tuned. We are going to release a lot of improvements over the next few months. So yeah, I agree that some things could have been better, but a lot of improvements are coming during the upcoming months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think this is a general, maybe an issue with headless CMSs, that people would like to use they don't want to use traditional CMS anymore. They want to, reach out for all the pros from using headless CMS, but they would like to see the head part where you can change the things. And this is why the market, I think, is changing or merging, that many headless CMSs already come with the preview mode or something like that, which is basically the head feature. And all the standard or traditional CMSs are coming with the headless API.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, one of our priorities is to unify the front end and the CMS. I think they've been too much disconnected, but a lot of great stuff is coming.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
We have one question from the YouTube stream.
Okay, I think you need to speak here.
We have one question from the YouTube stream, and that is, are we going to provide an easy way to migrate from version 4 to version 5? Actually, the docs available is quite short. It's from Luis.
So we published a lot of documentation on docs.strapi.io. We also released migration guides, migration scripts. We listed all of the working changes. So the process should be quite smooth. If you still have specific questions, feel free to join us on Discord. We will be happy to help you in that process. But we really documented everything we could, and the team has been doing an amazing job at doing this migration guides and script and the documentation. So everything should be smooth. If you have questions, feel free to join us on Discord. Feel free to ping me, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. Stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, so my question is related to the previous one. How about migration of existing plugins? Does it mean that all plugins for V4 stopped functioning for V5, or is there some, I don't know, middle way how to migrate it easily as well?
Yeah, this is a very good question. We've worked a lot with the community to upgrade the most downloaded plugins. And so most of them, they are already compatible with Strapi 5. If you've built your own plugins, which is great, you might also need to do some changes. And again, all of this is documented on docs.strapi.io.
Okay, thank you.
I can confirm that Strapi reached out to us and help us to migrate the plugins that were needed to be migrated. All right.
And Notum can help you with this.
Yes. So I think that was it from the questions. I have maybe one more last question. Maybe Pierre, if I'm somebody who wants to implement Strapi in my company and I want help from an agency, is there any agency that you would suggest?
I would suggest Notum.
All right, so I think that was it. Once again, thank you very much for the presentation, and we are very happy that we can have you here. And I wish you luck with upcoming years and upcoming challenges.
Well, thanks a lot for having me today. For organizing these events. Thank you for using Strapi. Have fun together. You will discover all of the technical improvements with Dominic. Andre will tell you more about how they've used Notum at Strapi and talk more broadly about the headless CMSs. So enjoy your evening, enjoy the lunch party, and again, feel free to join us on Discord if you have questions.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.